We've all heard of the philosopher Confucius, but how much do we actually know about his philosophy? He was about creating social order and harmony, but he said to achieve this, we need to obey a strict system of hierarchy, obey the elders, obey your parents, and always perform your own duties and responsibilities within your station in society. Now, some of these ideas might seem a little bit out of date or conservative, but they have been undergoing a resurgence in China, both politically and also in school curriculums. My first guest on China Insights today is the former deputy principal of a Confucius Academy, Wang Shaoli. Wang Shaoli, thank you for joining me today.
Hi.
Why does Confucius hold such an important place in the hearts of many Chinese people?
Because Confucius is considered as our teacher forever. He is the first person in our history to introduce education to the ordinary people.
So before Confucius, education was a very elite thing?
Yes, very limited to the noble families only. And not only that, Confucius is the first person to treat all the students equally, no matter where he's from, whether he's from a rich family or a poor family, whether he's from his own state or from other states.
We actually went along to your former school with our reporter, Britton Clennett. She went along to the Confucius Academy to take a look at their teachings and to take a look at their approach to education. Let's take a look.
It's the crack of dawn on a chilly autumn morning in Beijing's northern Baijiatuan village. A group of students and teachers at the Sihai Confucius Academy gather in one of the main halls for their morning ritual.
礼运第九，起。
It also marks the beginning of a long day reciting Chinese classics. Inside the classroom, the students read and recite each text, recording tally marks as they go. They're then tested to make sure each one is read aloud perfectly.
There are obvious traditional underpinnings to this school. By the time the kids are about 13 years old, they need to be able to recite almost 100,000 characters. But there's also a modern twist. The kids are encouraged to get out of the classroom and immerse themselves in this village environment.
The Sihai Confucius Academy is nestled on a lush mountainside, surrounded by forests and well-groomed gardens. For one reason or another, the parents of these kids decided that China's mainstream education didn't suit them. The students at Sihai have taken a completely different route to their public school peers and are now committed to becoming experts in Chinese culture. Xue Chunyuan used to attend a public school, but struggled to keep up with his classmates and became demoralized. His life turned around after he discovered the Di Zi Gui, a Qing dynasty text based on Confucian principles. It's seen as a guideline for being a good student.
每天我也是学得很晚嘛，一直也是老师给我们补啊补也补不上来那个成绩，然后一直也就是那样，然后老师对我就是一副几乎就是爱答不理的吧，然后那会儿我也自己也感觉挺失望的吧，也可以说是对自己。后来呢，那时候那个妈妈就让我在家里，那时候让我在家里读《弟子规》。读了《弟子规》之后，妈妈说我的改变有很多。
他变化很大，他作业都是主动做，然后呢，回到家里边很积极的帮我做各种各样的家务，然后对父母的这种态度也有很大的转变，所以我就更产生自己对这个传统的一个信心嘛，然后就把小的2个也就送来了。
感谢生命中所有的一切，请老师先用。
因为我跟我先生也都是从体制内就是上最好的大学，然后取得最高的学位，然后进行这样的一个工作嘛。但是在工作的过程中间，因为我们自己就是做企业的过程中间会面临很多各种各样的员工，那我们发现并不是大学毕业的员工是最好用的员工，也并不是学历最高的员工是工作最出色的员工。另外一个就是看了这么多的人啊， 就说并不是一个说学位最高或者说学习最出色的人，他的生活是最幸福的。
先王未有公事，东则居。
The Sihai Academy is one of the most respected institutions of its kind, praised by many of today's prominent figures in Confucian thought. It was founded in 2006 by Feng Zhe, who wanted somewhere for his 7-year-old daughter to study that wasn't as exam-orientated as state schools and offered a deeper cultural learning.
我的女儿大概到7岁多的时候，我就觉得她不能在应试学校里再待下去了。就中国人在学习西方，在这100-200年，我认为是无与伦比的，啊，我们是奋不顾身的去学习，但慢慢我们就会发现，100多年过去了，好像科技越来越发达，物质越来越丰富，但是你发现人的精神心灵，啊，这个社会人与人交往的这种友善度，啊，这种亲近度，似乎就是心理的距离越来越远。后来我们发现，哦，原来是因为我认为文化出了问题。
Students begin their education at Sihai when they're just 3 years old and stay on until their late teens. There are now around 200 pupils, each boarding from Monday to Friday and returning home for the weekend. Feng says it's common for parents to want to get involved in the school after their children enroll.
都是因为他为了自己的孩子找到他更理想的教育，他把孩子先送到书院，后来就是自己也放下工作，加入到书院。
请求这3样东西怎么了？
That was certainly the case for former businessman Yang Jie. Becoming a teacher at the Sihai Confucius Academy was something he felt drawn to after enrolling his son.
You left your high-level position at a very large construction company at the age of 39 to become a teacher. Why is that?
因为那个时候是孩子4岁，我就把孩子送来了。那其实是因孩子结的缘，随着孩子在读《弟子规》，做《弟子规》，然后带动我们家庭的改变。后来我觉得就在经济条件允许的情况下，我就是像停薪留职一样。然后呢，后来我就自己在家读。那读到最后呢，实际上也是像自己有非常的一个强烈的愿望要来书院。儒家传统文化其实就是这个黄金法则，就是行有不得，反求诸己。我觉得这8个字真的就是我们所说的，就是做什么事情就像射箭一样，你有一个目标你去做，那你没有射中目标，你一定不会去怨天尤人，你一定不会去抱怨你旁边的选手比你射得好，你肯定会找自己的原因。
Feng Zhe has his own target.
我还是希望书院它能够成为一个像古代书院一样，它是一个千年学府。
In the words of Confucius, if your plan is for 10 years, plant trees. If your plan is for 100 years, educate children. In the pursuit of a perfect approach to learning, all stakeholders are trying to strike a delicate balance. After all, it's up to the country's parents, teachers and decision makers to shape China's next leaders.
So you seem very excited while watching that.
Yes, it's a surprise. I never expected to see this.
So these kids who come out of this school, they become well-rounded kids. They become kids who have a firm understanding of morality, of ethics, of how to be a good person, right? But then they enter society, and then what happens next?
Confucian teaching has 4 levels. The first level is to cultivate yourself to be a good person. The second level is to be responsible for your family. And the third level is to be a good citizen to the society. And the fourth level is to bring peace to the whole world if you are capable enough. And then if they can have a skill to make a living, then they can do anything. If only the society could accept them without a certificate.
What do many of the kids who come out of the Confucius Academy, what do they do?
You mean the students that have come out of the academy? Some of the students went abroad. Some of the students went back to the public schools. Mainly.
It must be hard to adjust, you know, after coming out of Confucius Academy and going to a mainstream school where all the values that they are taught, and many of your peers around you are not respectful of those same values?
Since they have accepted the values they were taught in the academy, so they were actually, most of them were very confident, well established already. So they were not so easy to be changed or to be affected. As far as I know, the students that have gone back to the public schools, they have achieved very good scores.
Now, what do you think of China's efforts to promote Confucianism today? 2,500 years later, we hear undertones of Confucius in politics. We see the Confucius institutes popping up around the world as a way of spreading, well, Chinese soft power, but also maybe Confucian values.
Confucius Institute is different from Confucius Academy. Definitely different. Confucius Academy would teach culture, but Confucius Institute used to be teaching language, but now maybe culture too. I think it is important for the world to understand more about us.
China can often be misunderstood, and do you think also that Confucius has been too often misunderstood?
Yes, too often. Since Confucius is a person, a real person, he has a lot of shortcomings, but he never tried to escape or try to cover.
Confucius academies, like we've seen over here, what do you think the future holds for them when, as you said, is a struggle because you can't get a certificate which can, allow you to enter normal exams and have a normal career path for a Chinese person? Do you think there will be more support for Confucius academies in the future?
You mean from the government?
From the government, from society, maybe?
I only could say I hope so. I hope they could be acknowledged, could be accepted, not only by the society, but formally by the government. These children, they deserve everything that the public schools children have.
Thank you, Wang Shaoli, for joining me today.
It's a pleasure.
We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to be looking at more possibilities of alternative education in China. Stay tuned for that. Welcome back to China Insight. So far today, we've been talking about Confucianism, its relevance in China today, and how we can be teaching Confucianism in schools. As we know, education in China has come under attack for being too exam-oriented. So what are the alternatives? My next guest on China Insight has witnessed both traditional and non-traditional forms of education in China. She's a former teacher at Waldorf Academy, and her name is Xiaorui. Xiaorui, thanks for joining me today.
Thank you for having me.
You finished teaching at Waldorf a few years ago. Now you're teaching in Beijing. Where are you teaching now?
I teach in Rizhixin School.
And you said that this school was kind of a balance between mainstream education and Waldorf-style education.
I'm not sure if it's a balance, but I would say it's like the middle way.
When you grew up, you decided to become a teacher, and then did you take some of these ideas of what you thought were the insufficiencies or the problems in Chinese education and try and find a solution as a teacher to solving these problems?
Yeah, sure. That's why I was first inspired by Waldorf education. Right. I feel this calling in my heart to join that, to see how alternative education could be.
And that's exactly what we're going to do right now. Britton Clennett, China Insight's reporter, visited the Waldorf Academy, and she got a look at their approach to education. Let's take a look.
华德福的那种教育方式是我们比较喜欢的。这种教育的话，它能给孩子更多的自由和那个孩子自己的发展空间。
Waldorf is a decades-old holistic approach to learning, based on principles outlined by German philosopher Rudolf Steiner. Like other alternative education schools, it focuses on encouraging a child's personal growth.
The students and teachers here at the Chengdu Waldorf School are celebrating its 10th anniversary. 10 years ago, you wouldn't be able to find a school like this anywhere across China. And even today, it's one of the only alternative education schools operating with a license.
But it was an uphill battle getting the school officially off the ground. According to its three founders, Zhang Li, her husband Harry Huang and principal Li Zewu, all three had been trained at a special college in the UK for teachers of alternative education and shared the vision of bringing Waldorf to China.
The hardest part is the building facilities, how to meet the standard or requirement from the government. That is the mostly hard part, because we are not a big company, put huge money in.
I think it's that time the education authorities see that there's a value on that. They see our children playing the ground and see the children doing work as you see the books they're doing and the curriculum, what we are taking, and children are really happy and flawless in our playground. They see it from the children's eye, and they knew that it's actually a good education. It's worth to give a try.
Government here, they are really supportive. Really support this new education, and they said, oh, maybe you are just like do the educational experiment.
Mori Tadamori's lesson, extremely musical. The Japanese teacher ended up in Chengdu on a backpacking trip from Osaka several years ago and instantly became captivated by the Waldorf way of life.
I live here and have a relationship with the kids for a few years already, and I think I will stay here for forever until I can.
这是中国传统文化中的一张一弛哈，也是，当然也是华德福学校所讲的呼吸，所以他们在动的时候就是呼出，呼出，然后静的时候呢就是吸入，就是张弛有道。诗歌或者说有音乐也带给他们一定的规则。
早上好，晨曦，祝你拥有美好的一天。日子老师，早上好。早上好，祝你拥有美好的一天。谢谢。
Classes at the Chengdu Waldorf School are lively, with movement and song often incorporated into lessons. The teachers say by engaging the students physically, it makes learning more interesting.
到5年级之后，他就慢慢的意识会越来越清醒，他慢慢的要逐渐站立在大地上，他看到的不光有我们，还有很多另外的不同存在。所以呢，我们在5年级的时候会有更多古代文明的东西带给孩子们同时呢，也让孩子充分的去体验，充分的去经验。
According to Waldorf thinkers, this unique, playful way of teaching helps breed independent, critical thinkers and nurtures innovation. Australian Judith Klingen has decades of Waldorf experience in her home country and abroad. This is the 3rd year she's been invited to Chengdu to help improve the music lessons. She's passionate about the power of Waldorf to shape young people.
Steiner, it has said that people are more than just heads doing academic work. We have to have their hands working. We have to have their whole bodies working. We have to have their whole spirits working. It's a very all-encompassing sort of way of looking at what humans are and what humans can do. In China, people here are beginning to realise that there are other ways other than the strict academic approach.
Harry Huang's nephew Weibin and Li Zewu's daughter Mei were part of the first group of students at the Chengdu Waldorf School. After returning from their studies abroad for the school's 10th anniversary celebrations, they were able to see how far it has come.
I feel proud. It's my school. I feel we are growing up with the school. So, yeah, I mean, in the beginning it was tough, but now I just feel, oh, okay, the sunshine, it's coming.
And what advice do they have for China's young students?
Please enjoy your young age when you are still young, and don't study too hard. I mean, you will study well in the high school. I believe if you want to study.
Not everything has changed since Chengdu Waldorf's beginnings. There's still a strong sense of community among parents and teachers. Some of the families have uprooted their lives and moved from as far away as Beijing and Shanghai just so that their children can study here.
This is the Lee's family home. They live in a village where there are about 50 other Waldorf families. It's very much communal living here. The families eat together, the kids play together, and as you can hear, the wives sing together.
So there's a lot of singing, a lot of playing. It seems like it's about having fun.
Yeah.
Is that what it's about?
Yeah, it's a lot of fun and a lot of nourishment, but that's not all.
What are the fundamental differences in the approach of a school like Waldorf and take a mainstream school?
As far as I'm concerned, the Waldorf School regard children as a holistic being, and it really values the development of a child, and it not only see the child as a brain, a study machine, but it values the emotion, the feeling, and the will, doing things, and also the thinking. But the school addressed that in different developmental age of a child, and everything they learn need to bring out in an artistic way.
How is this different from when you were a child in school?
All I remember was scores and competition, and have to study till midnight, and then you have maybe 5 seconds of happiness after the exam, and then it's gone.
That's totally different. I came out of the British education system, and we had these ideas that you have to be a rounded student, and you have to balance your academics, your culture, and your sports. And we were encouraged to do all of those things.
Yes, I think Waldorf schools do value that too. It's not that the school doesn't value academic, but it depends on the age, and it depends on the developmental stage of a child. And children learn from multiple ways, and maybe they learn most when they're playing. They learn most when they're engaged in something they're really interested in.
What about mainstream Chinese education? As we know, it's all about the academics. Do you think it needs to become a little bit more balanced?
Absolutely. I think it's changing. The school ends the day earlier, and there's a couple of options that children can develop their own interests, like music or sports.
I had a preconception that it's just academics, but that's not true.
No, that was like 10 years ago, maybe, or 20 years ago. It's really changing. But academics is still a main focus, actually, because that's still the way that children can get into a better university or a bigger city.
How can mainstream Chinese education find a balance between this?
I do believe there is great space for these two streams of education to learn from each other. And I do think the balance is to engage teachers' creativity and their initiative, instead of give a preset goal and all the teachers do the same thing.
Waldorf education, if you're a child going to Waldorf in China, there's a challenge, because when you finish Waldorf, you're not adequately prepared, or you can't then do the Gaokao, the China's national college entrance exams. So what do Waldorf kids then end up doing in China?
The first group of Waldorf graduates, I know a couple of them went to universities in Sichuan, and a couple of them went overseas. And now there are more options for advanced education. Students can do vocational training, or they can go overseas, or, I mean, Gaokao maybe not the only option.
We kind of keep on speaking as if mainstream education has so many problems in China, but we have seen that it can achieve real academic excellence. We see amazing schools, and we see in China levels of maths and science that you don't really see in other countries?
Yeah, like what I just said, we really need a balance. We really need to learn from each other. There can be two extremes.
What is the solution for improving education in China?
I would say to have more educational initiatives and give the teacher more creativity and value their initiative. And teachers naturally love children. It's because the pressure and they ignore there's such a beauty in children, there's such a beauty in teaching. So I do believe there is such a great potential in every teacher that they can bring in their education.
So they need to be given the freedom to show their love for the kids.
Yes.
All right, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to be asking the question, what's the right type of education for your daughter or your son? That's when we come back.
我儿子、女儿，加上现在外孙女都走公立学校，
还是公立学校比较踏实放心。
公立学校还是不用花钱，私立学校费用太高。
觉得公立的一爹一放心一点嘛，然后可能的话，然后也离家近。
公立学校啊，私立学校好多问题。高中的时候和正式去上课的时候，大多数都不一样的。上出来安排工作的时候，不是那么顺利。
孔子学院吧，因为中国这种应试教育吧，我感觉让孩子们基本上都是没有自由，没有什么。然后去学习孔子学院的那些儒家学说呀之类的，还是可以增加孩子们的兴趣。
私立的太贵了，我们是外地的，公立的也不好办，反正到时候看吧，还不确定。
So you don't have children yet, but when you do, what would your answer be to this question? What do you think is the right type of school for your kids?
Parents play a more important role than schools. I would say. I went to public school, but I would say I learned so much from my parents. And they gave me such positive impact on my life. And
so it's about educating the parents more than educating the students sometimes?
Sure. I do think so.
And what should we say to parents about how they should approach educating their children?
We just need to really learn about children with the parents. I mean, parents, even though they have kids, doesn't mean they really know about kids. They really know about the growth of a human being. And parents need this vocational training, this parent training, and really take a close look at how children grow. And probably they can find their own answer.
So that will be your school. If you start a school in China, it'll be a school for parents, not a school for kids.
Yeah. You answered my question. Yes, I would start a parent school. And then we look together and we started about children and then probably they go out to look for their school.
Ray, thank you so much for joining us on the show today.
Thank you for having me.
And thank you for tuning in to China Insight. If you have any comments, questions or suggestions, feel free to email us to the address on the screen. You can also add us on our Weibo and WeChat pages and Facebook. Until next time, bye-bye.